This news was widely disseminated and shocked Malaysians and people all over the world on April 12, 2019. The incident occurs at the Pengerang Integrated Complex, which is an oil refinery being developed by Malaysian oil firm Petronas in Johor. It happens around 1:25 a.m., which has caused two male bodyguards suffered minor injuries. A leaking gas tank prompted the explosion. It was unclear which petrochemical units were impacted by the blast, but an industry source stated that the fire started inside PIC's refinery's atmospheric residue desulfurization unit. Two security guards were injured in the incident and were treated as outpatients at Rapid Pengerang's medical emergency unit. More than 10 houses in Kampung Lepau near Pengerang were reportedly damaged. Tremors were felt by residents in neighboring residential areas and as far away as Pasir Gudang, which is roughly 50 kilometers distant. The impact of the explosion was felt in Singapore as well. Residents on the island's eastern side reported feeling shockwaves from the explosion. The loudness from the blast lasted to 3 seconds. The fire occurred at one of the complex project sites. Organizations that use combustible materials in their manufacturing must take extra precautions when handling them. Failure to do so raises the likelihood of fires breaking out. Avoidance is the best method of loss control. For example, after discovering that a chemical used in manufacturing a company's good is dangerous for the workers, a factory owner finds a safe substitute chemical to protect the workers' health.
Alright, so for the details of the outcome, it was a fire and explosion that happened at Malaysia's oil firm Petronas in Johor was dealt promptly. It was said that the emergency and the fire response team were deployed and the fire was contained within 30 minutes. The situation was under control and all relevant authorities have been informed. Were continuing raids dealt promptly and adequately. Bernama reported there were more than 10 houses in Kampung Lempau near Pengerang believed to be damaged. Village Chief Zainal Abidin bin Rahim had received calls from other villagers, and shortly after the incident, he had contacted the Petronas representative to find out what happened. Petronas had asked him to check regarding homes to identify the damage occurred and to log police reports regarding it. So, was the first aid response team adequate? Yes, Petronas emergency response team received the report and deployed 5 fire engines with 30 firemen, and they were able to put out the fire at 2:15 a.m. and the 2 local personnel at the site were injured and had received outpatient treatment at Rapid Pengerang Emergency Centre, where emergency procedures followed. Investigations were done about the fire and blast and were conducted by the Safety Department of Petronas Rapid Complex, the State Government Safety, Security and Environment Communities, and the Johor chapter of National Disaster Management Agency. Whether the event was preventable and how. Monitoring weathers, including temperatures, lighting and wind, humidity is one line defense. Monitoring oxygen level, flammable, lower explosive limits throughout the site, installing shutdown system, intake flames arrestor, and exhaust sparks arranged on equipment and machinery at the site can also provide a warning that these conditions are approaching unsafe levels and protection from common ignition. These engineering and administrative controls, coupled with appropriate PPE for everyone on site, working in tandem to prevent fire and explosion.
In a worst-case scenario, if the fire spread quickly and the firemen cannot control the situation, it will get worse and will result in damage to building and housing around the plant, such as Kampung Lepau, as it is quite close to the explosion area. More people will be injured and can be life-threatening.
What prevented the worst from happening? The fire was contained and later extinguished with the help of 5 fire and rescue department vehicles and 30 officers. They overcome the fire within 30 minutes. How often such an event occurs? The fire and explosion incidents occur at Pengerang twice within a year, which resulted in April 2019 and March 2020. The incident in March 2020 were leaving 5 dead, 1 escaped safely, and another one suffered burnout to 70%. What was the worst injury or damage we could have resulted? During the event, 2 local workers had minor injuries and were treated as outpatients at the Rapid Pengerang Medical Emergency Clinic. The facility was unable to handle high sulfur crude oil until the end of the year. How many people could have the event have affected? The incident had affected the residents at Kampung Lepau as they are located about 1 kilometer from the Pengerang complex. More than 10 houses were damaged by the explosion as a result. Residents on the island, eastern side, which is Singapore, were hit by the blast shockwave.
Based on what my groupmate explained just now, we all know the detail of the event, the outcomes of the incident and the potential consequences. Now, I would like to explain the recommended action to do after the incident. First is regarding the risk assessment. A risk assessment is a vital element for health and safety. Its main objective is to determine the measure required to comply with the statutory duty under the Health and Safety at Work Act 1974. It needs to be reviewed whenever there is an injury or incident occur. Second, each department must establish an emergency response team for any disaster cases. With the availability of ERT and adequate training given to its member, it can prevent injuries and reduce damage to building and the environment. And there are several methods that can be improved, which is by making a training program on workplace safety. Other than that, implement safety protocols at work, ensuring the tools and facilities are constantly inspected, and need to have regular meeting on workplace safety with employees.
First is Occupational Safety and Health Act of 1917 Section 5A1 about duties, where each employee shall furnish to each of his employees employment and a place of employment which are free from recognized hazard they are causing or likely to cause death or serious physical harm to his employees. Second is Occupational Safety and Health Act 1910 Subpart H 1910.101, A subpart H about hazardous material, and A about compressed gases of general requirements. It is all about inspection of compressed gas cylinder. Last act and regulation is Occupational Safety and Health Act of 1994, Regulation 2004. Notification and reporting of accident, dangerous occurrence, occupational poisoning, and occupational disease. Exemption from Part 2, it is about notification and reporting of accident and dangerous occurrence whenever any accident arising out of or in connection with work which cause any person either injured or die. Employer responsibilities. First, assure first aid and call for emergency services. Provide immediate care if have someone that qualified to do so. Second is control potential secondary accidents. This include denying access to people who don't need to be on the scene. Third is identify people and condition at the scene. The people are potential witnesses to what happened and have someone else take down their names. And lastly, employees need to report and keep record of work-related accidents which cause certain serious injuries that are reportable. There are 4 employees' responsibilities. First, report any hazard, illness or injuries or signs of accident to occur. Second, taking reasonable care of their own health and safety. Third is cooperating with employer and follow employers of leader instruction. And lastly, not putting others in danger. In conclusion, workplace safety refers to a company's working environment and includes all factors that affect the safety, health, and well-being of its employees. Occupational safety and health should not be treated as a secondary concern in the delivery of services. Workers' health and well-being are important aspects of their motivation and job satisfaction, which influence the productivity and retention.